Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Crystal and it's This Provincial Life. So today I'm going to be doing my spoiler review. Spoiler review. Not my spoiler-free review, my spoiler review. Okay? And if you haven't read this book, please follow the iCard and go and watch the spoiler-free version. If you want to watch it, you can. I can't stop you. I mean, choices, right? So this follows two women. So it follows Shakiba and then it follows Rahima. Rahima is a young 13-year-old girl living in Afghanistan in today's time. And then Shakiba is Rahima's great-great-grandmother. And so Rahima is actually learning about Shakiba's experiences through her aunt. And it is just all about how their lives kind of connect and how they kind of follow the same path in a way, and how they are in charge of their own fate and they choose their lives. And yes, there are certain things they do not have control over, but they do have control over some things, and they need to work through that. And I really enjoyed it. I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. My spoiler reviews are going to be kind of almost like a stream of consciousness, where I'm just going to be talking about what comes to mind after I've just finished reading this book. I love to learn about different cultures and ethnicities and religions and what it would be like if I had been just thrown into Afghanistan to see what was going on and to understand the cultures. Something I really liked about this was the concept of a nasib. So I guess a nasib is the equivalent of fate or God's will for these people. A lot of the people were like, oh, it's in their nasib, so we need to accept it and move on. So it's kind of like que sera, you know, what will be, will be. But it's also about them learning that you fight for your nasib. Like, God gives you these, or in this sense, Allah gives you these opportunities, and it is your choice whether or not to take it. And I really liked that concept. I thought that was a really good way to teach a worldwide concept, and that other cultures have the same type of concepts. I liked that. Now, one thing I didn't like was that it was very repetitive in conflict. Rahima always had a looming male figure over her. So when she was growing up, it was her father. He loved them, but he wanted men, you know, he wanted boys. And then she moved from her father to the man that she was arranged to marry, and he treated her very badly. So, and then also in Shakiba's world, the same thing happened. She just moved from one male dominant figure to another. And I guess that's very common in that culture, because women are mistaken for property a lot of the time. It felt like it was very cyclical, and I was reading the same things over and over. And then also the focus on having children. So Rahima and Shakiba were focused so much on having children, and I understand that. Like, that's basically their livelihood, someone to pass on their dowry to, and like hoping it's a man, hoping when they're pregnant that it's a boy. And I understand that that's an important part of the story, and I liked that element because it was very cultural. However, with that being said, I didn't feel that it was executed well, because there were times where out of nowhere Rahima would start talking about hopefully she can have another baby, and then nothing ever happened. And then Shakiba did the same thing, hopefully she can have another baby, and then nothing happened. And something I really enjoy in books is assuming that someone has already read through it, pulled out all the unimportant things, and left me the bones, you know, left me the most important parts of this story. And I didn't feel like this was the case. I felt like it was very, at times it was very like, okay, I get it, I get that. I get that they're all trying to have children. Okay, I get that. Something I loved. So let's talk about this. Some characters I loved. I loved her Aunt I always said Shaima, but I'm not sure if that's how you say it, Shaima. but in my head it was Shaima, or Shaima. And that was her aunt. She was amazing. She was this just bad A character that was like, I don't care what my nasib is, I am carving my own life, and I am me, and I'm awesome because I'm me, and I'm awesome because I'm a woman, and I loved that. I loved that. And she was the glue that kept these two women together, because really, Shaima was the one telling the stories to Rahima about Shakiba, and keeping her like in the loop with that, and I loved that. I absolutely loved that. Another part of the plot that I felt was really cool was how Rahima was able to learn to read and write because her aunt told her, you need to read and write, and Rahima didn't understand because her sisters weren't her sisters were learning, but all of her friends weren't learning because they were women and it wasn't really that necessary. But she was able to learn how to read and write. And because she was able to learn how to read and write, it led her to being able to go to Kabul to help, who was it? I'm so bad with the names. Badriya, out when she was a political figure at one point. And I liked that. I liked that something that her aunt told her she should do, she did, and it helped her. And then that also helped her be connected to the resource center that actually helped save her life. And so I liked that domino effect, that one good choice could affect you in good ways to come in the future, just as long as you decide to make those choices. I really liked that concept. And I also really liked the concept of how they viewed Americans coming into their country for like war reasons. And then I also liked trying to understand more of their political standings and how they are trying to move forward. I loved that they were having women as political figures, which wasn't something they did in the past. I loved that. I loved Shakiba being a woman soldier and a woman guard. I thought that was really cool, being able to break down those barriers. And I also loved Rahima being able to learn about the internet and all of those things. And it just kind of taught me that just because they aren't, as far as feminism and women's equality is concerned, Afghanistan and the Middle East isn't necessarily at the same level, but that doesn't mean they aren't making progress. And I really liked that. I thought that was very well done and entertaining. So that's the end of my spoiler review. Let me know down below if there are any other types of books along this area that I haven't heard of, specifically ones that are with an author that lives in that country, preferably, because that's just something I like. So without further ado, hopefully you guys keep reading and have a great day. Bye!